Jabberwocky is a poem written by Lewis Carroll, which is part of his famous novel, Through the Looking Glass, and What Alice Found There. The novel is the sequel to Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Jabberwocky is found in the 7th chapter of the book and is recited by the character Tweedledee to Alice. The poem is known for its playful and nonsensical language. It tells the story of a young boy who slays the Jabberwock, a fearsome creature. The poem is celebrated for its inventive use of words, many of which were created by Carroll himself. Some of these words have since become part of the English language, such as chortle, a combination of chuckle and snort. Here is the full text of Jabberwocky. VB net. Copy code. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the momerits outgrabe. Beware the Jabberwock, my son. The jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jubjub bird, and shun the frumious Bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand. Long time the manxome foe he sought. So rested he by the tumtum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock, with eyes of flame, cam whiffling through the tulgey wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, and through, the vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Comet o' my arms, my beamish boy. O frabjous day, Callooh, Calais. He chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the momerits outgrabe. The poem's whimsical language and unique wordplay have made it a classic example of nonsense literature. Let's break down Jabberwocky, line by line. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves. Brillig refers to the time of day, perhaps late afternoon or evening. Slithy toves is a nonsensical phrase, where slithy might suggest a combination of lithe and slimy, and toves is an animal or creature of some sort. Did gyre and gimble in the wabe. Gyre means to turn or spiral, and gimble implies to move in a twisting motion. Wabe is an area or region, and here it's a playful term for the environment where the toves are moving. All mimsy were the borogoves. Mimsy means unhappy or miserable. Borogoves is another imaginary creature, and the state of being, mimsy, describes its mood. And the mome rats outgrabe. Mome suggests something indistinct or foolish. Rats is another imaginary creature. Outgrabe is a term created by Carroll, and its exact meaning is unclear, but it implies some kind of emotional outcry. Beware the Jabberwock, my son. A warning to be cautious of the fearsome Jabberwock, a legendary creature. The jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Describing the dangerous aspects of the Jabberwock, emphasizing its biting jaws and catching claws. Beware the Jubjub bird, and shun another warning, this time about the Jubjub bird, suggesting that it should be avoided. The frumious Bandersnatch. Frumious is a blend of furious and fuming, and Bandersnatch is another imaginary creature with an unknown appearance and characteristics. He took his vorpal sword in hand. The protagonist grabs his vorpal sword, which is a term created by Carroll, suggesting a weapon with a sharp and swift blade. Long time the manxome foe he sought. The hero spends a significant amount of time searching for the fearsome opponent. So rested he by the tumtum tree. The protagonist takes a break by the tumtum tree, a whimsical and nonsensical element in the story. And stood a while in thought. The hero pauses to contemplate and think about the impending encounter. And as in uffish thought he stood. Uffish is a term created by Carroll, indicating a state of serious or contemplative thought. The Jabberwock, with eyes of flame. The creature, the Jabberwock, is described as having fiery eyes, adding to its menacing appearance. Came whiffling through the tulgey wood. Whiffling suggests a twisting or turning motion, and the tulgey wood is a fantastical forest. And burbled as it came. The Jabberwock makes a bubbling or gurgling sound as it approaches, adding to its eerie nature. 1, 2, and through. The hero engages in combat with the Jabberwock. The vorpal blade went snicker-snack. The vorpal sword makes a cutting sound, described as snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head. The hero successfully defeats the Jabberwock, leaving it lifeless. He went galumphing back. The hero joyfully returns, perhaps with a triumphant and light-hearted gait. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Someone, presumably a celebratory figure, questions if the hero has defeated the Jabberwock. Come to my arms, my beamish boy. Expressing joy and celebration, inviting the hero into an embrace. O frabjous day, Callooh, Calais. Expressing extreme delight and celebration, using joyful and nonsensical words. He chortled in his joy. The celebratory figure laughs or chortles in happiness. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves. The poem returns to the opening line, repeating the nonsensical description of the time and creatures in the environment. Did gyre and gimble in the wabe. A repetition of the playful movements of the toves in the wabe, bringing the poem full circle. All mimsy were the borogoves. Reiterating the unhappiness or misery of the borogoves. And the mome raths outgrabe. Repeating the peculiar behavior or outcry of the mome raths. Jabberwocky is celebrated for its imaginative language and wordplay, creating a whimsical and nonsensical atmosphere that captures the essence of Carroll's unique literary style. Jabberwocky is a whimsical and nonsensical poem written by Lewis Carroll, appearing in his novel, Through the Looking Glass, and What Alice Found There. The poem is recited by the character Tweedledee Alice. It tells the story of a young hero who embarks on a quest to slay the fearsome Jabberwock, a mythical creature. The poem is characterized by its playful and inventive use of language, with many of the words being creations of Carroll himself. The hero successfully defeats the Jabberwock with a vorpal sword and returns triumphantly, leading to a celebratory and joyful conclusion. The overall tone of the poem is whimsical, and its imaginative language has made it a classic example of nonsense literature. Jabberwocky, by Lewis Carroll, is a masterpiece of nonsense literature, characterized by its playful language, inventive word creation, and whimsical storytelling. Here are some key points of analysis. Nonsensical language. Carroll invents numerous words and blends existing ones in unconventional ways, creating a unique and whimsical vocabulary. Examples include brillig, slithy toves, mimsy, and frabjous. The use of nonsensical language adds to the dreamlike and fantastical atmosphere, inviting readers to embrace the absurdity of the poem. Imaginative world building. The poem introduces a fantastical setting with creatures like the Jabberwock, Jubjub bird, and Bandersnatch, as well as the Tumtum tree and Tulgey wood. Carroll's ability to create a vivid and imaginative world contributes to the enduring appeal of the poem. Heroic quest. The poem follows a traditional heroic narrative structure, with a hero going on a quest to face a formidable foe. The hero's journey, from preparation to battle and triumph, is a recognizable and timeless storytelling motif. Wordplay and portmanteau. Carroll employs wordplay and portmanteau, blending two words to create new terms like snicker-snack and chortled. This linguistic creativity contributes to the poem's charm and demonstrates Carroll's love for playing with language. Symbolism of nonsense. The nonsensical elements in the poem can be seen as a commentary on the arbitrary nature of language and the limitations of conventional communication. Carroll challenges the idea that language must always convey specific meaning, allowing readers to appreciate the beauty of language for its own sake. Rhythmic and rhyming structure. The poem has a distinctive rhythm and rhyming scheme, contributing to its musical quality. The repetition of certain sounds and patterns enhances the poem's oral and auditory appeal. Celebration and joy. The concluding lines express joy and celebration, O frabjous day, Callooh, Calais, emphasizing the triumph of the hero and creating a sense of jubilation. Cultural impact. Jabberwocky has had a lasting impact on literature and popular culture. Some of the invented words, such as chortle, have found their way into the English language. In summary, Jabberwocky is a delightful and imaginative poem that showcases Lewis Carroll's linguistic creativity and his ability to craft a captivating and fantastical world. Its enduring popularity lies in its celebration of language, playfulness, and the timeless appeal of a hero's journey. Jabberwocky, by Lewis Carroll, explores several themes through its whimsical and nonsensical narrative. Here are some prominent themes along with examples from the poem. Nonsense and language. Example: the entire poem is a celebration of nonsense language. Words like brillig, slithy, and frabjous are entirely invented by Carroll. The theme underscores the arbitrary nature of language and its potential for creative expression. Heroic journey. Example: the hero's quest to slay the Jabberwock follows the traditional structure of a heroic journey. The hero faces a formidable foe, undergoes trials, and ultimately achieves victory, contributing to the timeless theme of heroism. Imaginary worlds. Example: the poem introduces readers to a fantastical world with creatures like the Jabberwock, Jub bird, and Bandersnatch, as well as nonsensical locations like the Tumtum tree and Tulgey wood. This theme emphasizes the power of imagination to create alternate realities. Fear and courage. Example: the warnings about the Jabberwock's dangerous attributes build a sense of fear and anticipation. The hero's courage in facing the unknown and confronting the Jabberwock forms a central theme of overcoming fear with valor. Joy and celebration. Example: the concluding lines express immense joy and celebration with phrases like, "Oh frabjous day," "Callooh," "Calais," and "he chortled in his joy." This theme celebrates triumph, success, and the exuberance of accomplishment. Wordplay and creativity. Example: Carroll's inventive wordplay, including portmanteau words and playful language, exemplifies the theme of linguistic creativity. For instance, the term vorpal is a blend of verbal and gospel, contributing to the imaginative nature of the poem. Arbitrary nature of rules. Example: the poem challenges the conventional rules of language, suggesting that communication doesn't always have to adhere to strict meanings. The use of nonsense words and the poem's overall disregard for conventional grammar highlight the arbitrary nature of linguistic rules. Triumph of good over evil. Example: the hero's successful slaying of the Jabberwock symbolizes the triumph of good over evil. This theme is a common motif in traditional storytelling and adds a layer of moral significance to the narrative. Rhythm and repetition. Example: the rhythmic and rhyming structure of the poem, with repeated sounds and patterns, contributes to its musical quality. This theme emphasizes the importance of rhythm and repetition in oral and written traditions. Playfulness and humor. Example: the entire tone of the poem is playful and humorous, with the whimsical use of language and the absurdity of the imaginary creatures. This theme highlights Carroll's penchant for humor and lighthearted storytelling. These themes collectively contribute to the charm and enduring appeal of Jabberwocky, making it a rich and multi-layered piece of literature. Settings. Jabberwocky, by Lewis Carroll, does not explicitly specify a particular setting in terms of time or place. Instead, it presents a fantastical and imaginary world filled with peculiar creatures and whimsical landscapes. The poem introduces readers to a place where Brillig is a time of day, Slithy Toves, gyre and gimble in the wabe, and the hero encounters the Jabberwock in a Tulgey wood. The settings are dreamlike and contribute to the overall surreal atmosphere of the poem. Tone. The tone of Jabberwocky is playful, whimsical, and nonsensical. Lewis Carroll employs a lighthearted and humorous tone throughout the poem, using imaginative language and wordplay to create a sense of joy and amusement. Even when describing a potentially dangerous and fearsome creature like the Jabberwock, the tone remains whimsical rather than dark or threatening. The celebratory tone in the concluding lines adds to the overall sense of joy and triumph. Writing style. Nonsense language. Carroll's writing style in Jabberwocky is characterized by the creation of nonsense words and inventive language. Words like brillig, slithy, and mimsy have no clear, conventional meanings but contribute to the poem's unique linguistic landscape. Portmanteau. Carroll often uses portmanteau words, blending two words to create a new one. For example, chortled combines chuckle and snort, and frabjous is a blend of fair, fabulous, and joyous. Rhythm and rhyme. The poem follows a rhythmic and rhyming structure, contributing to its musical quality. The repetition of sounds and patterns enhances the poem's oral and auditory appeal, aligning with the traditional characteristics of poetry. Imaginative world building. Carroll's writing style involves rich and imaginative world building. He introduces readers to fantastical creatures like the Jabberwock and places them in a surreal landscape, fostering a sense of wonder and creativity. Narrative structure. The poem follows a narrative structure with a clear beginning, middle, and end. It presents a hero's journey, from the initial warning about the Jabberwock to the hero's triumphant return after defeating the creature. Symbolism and themes. Carroll incorporates symbolism and explores themes such as the arbitrary nature of language, the triumph of good over evil, and the joy of accomplishment. His writing style invites readers to delve into the layers of meaning beneath the playful surface. In summary, Lewis Carroll's writing style in Jabberwocky is characterized by its playful and imaginative use of language, rhythmic structure, and the creation of a whimsical world that captures the essence of nonsense literature. Jabberwocky, by Lewis Carroll, is widely appreciated for its unique contribution to nonsense literature, demonstrating Carroll's mastery in wordplay, imagination, and storytelling. Here's a critical appreciation of the poem. Inventive language and wordplay. Carroll's creation of nonsensical words and inventive language is a standout feature. Words like brillig, slithy, and frabjous have become iconic examples of linguistic creativity. The playful wordplay adds a layer of whimsy to the poem. Imaginative world building. The poem showcases Carroll's remarkable ability to create an imaginative and fantastical world. The introduction of mythical creatures like the Jabberwock, Jub bird, and Bandersnatch, along with nonsensical locations, contributes to the enduring appeal of the poem. Rhythmic and rhyming structure. The poem's rhythmic and rhyming structure enhances its musical quality. The repetition of sounds and patterns adds to the oral and auditory pleasure, making it a memorable and enjoyable piece to recite and read aloud. Heroic journey and symbolism. Jabberwocky follows the structure of a traditional heroic journey. The hero's quest to slay the Jabberwock symbolizes the universal theme of overcoming challenges and the triumph of good over evil. The poem's layers of symbolism invite readers to explore deeper meanings beneath its seemingly nonsensical surface. Challenging conventional language. Carroll challenges the conventional rules of language, suggesting that communication doesn't always need to adhere to strict meanings. This exploration of the arbitrary nature of language adds a layer of intellectual engagement to the poem. Cultural impact. The poem's impact on language and popular culture is noteworthy. Some of the invented words, such as chortle, have found their way into the English language. The poem continues to be referenced, adapted, and celebrated in various forms of media. Joyful and humorous tone. The poem's joyful and humorous tone contributes to its timeless appeal. Carroll's ability to maintain a light-hearted atmosphere, even when describing potentially threatening creatures, makes it accessible and enjoyable for readers of all ages. Literary experimentation. Jabberwocky is a prime example of literary experimentation. Carroll's willingness to depart from conventional linguistic and narrative norms showcases a creative spirit that has inspired generations of writers to think outside traditional literary boundaries. In conclusion, Jabberwocky is a literary gem that continues to captivate readers with its inventive language, imaginative world, and timeless themes. Lewis Carroll's contribution to the genre of nonsense literature is celebrated for its wit, creativity, and enduring cultural impact. Lewis Carroll, the pen name of Charles Lutwidge Dodgson, is celebrated as a poet primarily for his whimsical and nonsensical works, notably, Jabberwocky. Here are some key aspects of Lewis Carroll as a poet. Nonsense literature. Carroll is a prominent figure in the genre of nonsense literature. His poems, characterized by playful language, inventive wordplay, and imaginative settings, defy traditional expectations of meaning and structure. Inventive language. Carroll's poetry often features the creation of new words and the blending of existing ones. Jabberwocky is a prime example of his ability to craft a unique and whimsical vocabulary that adds to the overall charm of his works. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. While Carroll is renowned for his poetry, he is equally famous for his prose works, especially Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and its sequel, Through the Looking Glass. These novels include poetry within the narrative, such as The Walrus and the Carpenter and The Lobster Quadrille. Playful themes and tone. Carroll's poetry often explores playful themes, such as nonsense, imagination, and the fantastical. The tone is lighthearted, humorous, and designed to amuse and entertain readers of all ages. Use of nonsense in teaching. Carroll, who was also a mathematician and a logician, used nonsense and wordplay as pedagogical tools. His interest in logic and language is evident in his playful manipulation of words and meanings. Versatility. While Carroll is perhaps most famous for his nonsense verse, he demonstrated versatility in his poetry. He wrote on a range of topics, including nature, love, and moral themes, showcasing his ability to adapt his poetic style to different subjects. Contribution to literary form. Carroll's contributions to the world of literature extend beyond his poetry. His work in creating fantastical and imaginative worlds, as well as his use of unconventional language, has influenced subsequent generations of writers and poets. Cultural impact. Carroll's poetry, especially Jabberwocky, has left a lasting impact on popular culture. Phrases and words coined by Carroll, such as chortle and Jabberwocky, have become ingrained in the English language. In summary, Lewis Carroll's significance as a poet lies in his pioneering contributions to the genre of nonsense literature. His playful use of language, inventive wordplay, and creation of whimsical worlds have solidified his place as a beloved and influential poet. Significance, relevance, legacy, impact, contribution in literature. Lewis Carroll's significance, relevance, legacy, impact, and contributions in literature are multifaceted and enduring. Here are key aspects that highlight his influence. Nonsense literature pioneer. Carroll is recognized as a pioneer of nonsense literature. His imaginative and whimsical works, particularly Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, set the stage for a new genre that defied conventional storytelling and language norms. Inventive language and wordplay. Carroll's contributions to language are profound. He demonstrated a unique ability to invent words, blend existing ones, and play with language in a way that transcended traditional linguistic boundaries. His word creations, such as chortle and Jabberwocky, have become part of the English lexicon. Impact on children's literature. Carroll's Alice books had a transformative impact on children's literature. By creating fantastical worlds and characters, he influenced subsequent generations of authors who sought to engage young readers with imaginative and unconventional narratives. Literary fantasy and imagination. Carroll's use of fantasy and imagination in literature significantly influenced the development of the fantasy genre. His imaginative settings, nonsensical creatures, and dreamlike narratives paved the way for later authors like J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis. Cultural icon. The characters created by Carroll, particularly Alice, the Cheshire Cat, and the Mad Hatter, have become cultural icons. They are widely recognized and referenced in various forms of media, from literature to film and popular culture. Literary humor and wit. Carroll's writings are celebrated for their humor and wit. His clever wordplay, satirical elements, and humorous characters have influenced subsequent authors who aim to inject playfulness and wit into their works. Educational contributions. Carroll, a mathematician and logician, used his interest in logic and language as educational tools. His playful approach to language and storytelling served as a way to engage and entertain while subtly teaching lessons in logic and linguistics. Continued adaptations and influences. Carroll's works continue to be adapted into various forms, including film, theater, and literature. Numerous reinterpretations and adaptations of Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass highlight their enduring relevance. Literary legacy and enduring popularity. Carroll's legacy in literature is marked by the enduring popularity of his works. Generations of readers have been captivated by the whimsy, creativity, and intellectual playfulness found in his writings. Intellectual and artistic impact. Carroll's exploration of language, logic, and imagination has left an intellectual and artistic impact on literature. His ability to seamlessly blend the profound and the absurd continues to inspire writers who seek to challenge conventional narrative structures. In summary, Lewis Carroll's contributions to literature are vast and enduring. His influence extends across genres, disciplines, and generations, making him a literary figure whose legacy remains vibrant and relevant in contemporary culture. Use of poetry elements. Lewis Carroll employs various elements of poetry in Jabberwocky to create a whimsical and imaginative piece. Here are some notable elements. Imagery. Carroll uses vivid and fantastical imagery to paint a picture of a surreal world. Descriptions of creatures like the Jabberwock and settings like the Tulgey Wood contribute to the poem's dreamlike atmosphere. Figurative language. The poem is rich in figurative language, with metaphors and similes contributing to its playful tone. For instance, the hero is armed with a vorpal sword, and the Jabberwock is described as having eyes of flame. Alliteration. Carroll employs alliteration throughout the poem, repeating consonant sounds to create a musical quality. For example, Mimsy were the borogoves, and jaws that bite, the claws that catch, enhance the rhythmic flow. Rhyme scheme. The poem follows a distinctive rhyme scheme, a bob contributing to its sing-song quality. The rhyming couplets help to create a rhythm that makes the poem memorable and enjoyable to recite. Rhythm. Carroll's use of rhythm contributes to the poem's musicality. The repetitive patterns and rhythmic structure enhance the oral and auditory experience, making it suitable for recitation. Neologisms and portmanteau. Carroll's creation of new words and portmanteau, blending two words, as a notable feature. Terms like chortle, frabjous, and jub-jub exemplify his playful approach to language, contributing to the poem's nonsensical charm. Symbolism. The poem incorporates symbolic elements, such as the Jabberwock representing a fearsome challenge or obstacle. The hero's victory over the Jabberwock symbolizes the triumph of courage and valor. Repetition. Repetition is used strategically in the poem. The repetition of phrases like, all mimsy were the borogoves, and the recurrence of the opening and closing stanzas contribute to the poem's structure and emphasize certain themes. Irony and satire. Carroll employs irony and satire, particularly in the warnings about the Jabberwock's danger. The poem playfully subverts traditional expectations of heroism and mythical quests. Playful tone. The overall tone of the poem is lighthearted and whimsical. Carroll's playful language, wordplay, and humorous elements contribute to the sense of joy and amusement. Narrative structure. The poem follows a narrative structure, telling the story of a hero's quest to defeat a fearsome creature. The clear progression from the warning to the battle and the triumphant return contributes to the poem's accessibility. In Jabberwocky, Lewis Carroll's adept use of these poetic elements contributes to the creation of a timeless and engaging piece that transcends traditional boundaries of language and storytelling.